How's it going, YouTube? Don here, and I don't really know what to call this video right now. Find your passion, the truth about finding your passion, what finding your passion gets wrong, the trap of finding your passion, something along those lines. And basically, that's really what I'm going to talk about in this video is what finding your passion really gets wrong and what is the actual alternative. So if you look online, you look at all the people out there, some people are really like, follow your passion and you'll never work another day in your life. And, while I think there's some merit to that, I don't believe that that's the complete picture that we need to consider. Now, if you know anything about me, I want to get paid well, right? I want to, do what I love and also get paid well for it. And I think that's something that, following your passion really gets you into a trap of, is it doesn't take into account the money factor. Now, I've been on both sides of the equation where very early on in my career, when I started my first business, I was really on the whole rationality side. So I was like, let's just try to make money, fuck passion. I'm going to figure it out as I go along the way. But what that really did for me was it really got me nowhere because I wasn't really passionate about what I was actually going after, such that I couldn't see through all the struggles and all the trials and tribulations and all the roadblocks that came within the way. Because an important thing is whenever you're learning a hard skill, whenever you're learning anything in general, you're probably going to run into roadblocks. You're probably going to struggle. Some people struggle a little bit, other people struggle more than others. So there's got to be that passion factor there. So that's kind of the problem I have with the whole passion thing, is it doesn't take into account the money side. So let's talk about the money side of things, right? Because that's what I was really on the side of early on in my career. So the money side tells you that, screw your passion. You're going to get passionate when you get good at something, right? And I think that's true, right? But at the same time, you actually have to have an interest in what you're doing in order to see through all these uh, all these trials and tribulations, as I said earlier, the roadblocks, all the things that are going to get in your way. So you need to have some sort of passion there in order to get there. And this took me a really long time to actually figure out because I've just been so far into the whole money thing. So let's answer the actual question here is, what part of find your passion should you consider and one part of making money, and how do you fuse the two together in order to, get the best results, get through the dip, get through and actually get to your end goal, your achievement, whether that's learning how to code, learning a new language, whether that's starting your first business. It doesn't really matter in this case. I do think this is a really important thing because, especially on my channel, I talk a lot about programming, and programming is a hard skill, right? A lot of people drop out, a lot of people, end up not making it, and I don't want that to happen to you, right? So, whether you're a business owner, whether you're trying to learn how to code, or you're trying to learn any hard skill, even if you're like, for example, you're learning how to dance, you're learning a hard skill like salsa, for example, that it's also going to apply as well, right? So let's talk about the passion factor. What side of passion should you consider? It's not going to be the stuff that, they'll tell you all the time. The only prerequisite for passion is if you have a strong interest in whatever it is you're doing, right? So, for example, I watch a lot of YouTube. And I enjoy being on the platform. I enjoy, conversing with different content creators, discovering new content, learning new things, right? So that's why I'm drawn to be a YouTube content creator rather than a TikTok creator. I don't have a TikTok. I will probably not make one in the near future unless I get real big. So that's kind of one of the things that you want to consider. Another thing is, and what this is really what I find really helpful, is What are you searching on when you're not actively thinking about it, right? So, what does this really mean? Well, take a look at your internet search history. You're just put yourself in this situation. You're lying in bed on your phone, and you know, uh, you're not doing much. What are you actually actively searching on, right? That's something that you might want to consider. Is what are you actively searching on? Because that's a big indication of your interests. Is what do you do subconsciously when you're not actively thinking about it? It means you have an affinity to it, right? So I'll give you an example here, and then that's actually going to lead us on to the next part, which is about the money factor. So on my free time, I noticed a lot of the times I was looking at, MBTI and different personality tests and understanding the human mind. So clearly, I was interested in those psychological principles, right? So now let's lead on to the money question, right? Because everyone wants to follow their passion, but sometimes your passion is not one where you're going to be paid a lot for it, right? So you have to take that into account. Like, if you're passionate about horse riding, right? You're probably not going to make a lot of money riding horses. But how do you take your love of horse riding and get paid a lot for it, right? So I'll give you a couple ideas here. So we take some of our interests that we have. Let's keep that in a box and we'll go over to the money side. What you want to do is you want to find a need in the market, right? So what does a need in the market really mean? Well, if you're seeking out a new career, let's say that you want to be a software engineer. You could look at the different jobs and identify that software engineer is definitely in demand, right? You'll do the same with if you were to start a business, for example. You start a freelance business, you're trying to determine what clients you want to go after, whether you want to go after restaurants or dentists or auto dealers, or it doesn't really matter. You take a look, how many restaurants are in your local area? How many dental offices are in your area? How many mechanics are in your area? Right? And then you take a look, and then the best way is to ask them what their problems are, right? Or if you're talking about from a job perspective, the best thing is to look at what they're looking for, right? And see and write down exactly what these are, right? And this is something that I actually did when I was trying to determine what I wanted to learn to code, what I wanted my YouTube channel to be all about, is taking a look into these factors, right? So you take a look, you see where there's demand, and then you take a look at your interest. And what you want to do is you want to try to find the intersection between these two fields. So I'll give you a personal example here. So considering that I was looking at MBTI and I was looking at, all these like human behavior kind of things, searching those information up on YouTube, I decided, hey, look, software is in demand, right? But what subfield of software engineering would be a good idea to pursue, right? So what I did was I looked at all my interests and what I was doing on my free time, and I basically bridged those two together. So I decided, hey, I'm looking at my MBTI and all these personality stuff, all these psychological stuff. What I'm going to do is I'm going to study artificial intelligence and machine learning, and specifically natural learning processing. Having come from a background of having come from a background of digital marketing, I had a really good understanding of that. So, and also looking at these in my free time, it really helped me to get over the learning curve that occurred when I was learning to program, when I had a really clear goal of what I had in mind when I was building out projects and stuff like that. I also noticed that I was really interested in camera work, DSLRs, recording YouTube videos like this one. So I was looking into computer vision engineering. And then what I did was I took those two, because those are my top two fields, and I narrowed it down even more. I'm like, okay, so now I know where my passion areas are. So what I want to do now is I want to choose the one that's more in demand, right? So what is more in demand? What I did was I went to LinkedIn and I searched natural language processing. And I looked at companies that were looking for that particular type of skills, or, were startups that use that or something like that. And I did the same for computer vision. What I found out was, computer vision, although there were some jobs that had that, it wasn't as in demand as a whole natural language processing field, right? So that's really what you want to do. And that's really how you want to perceive finding your passion, is you want to look at the interest that you are actually interested in on your free time when you're not actively thinking about it. And then you want to find a market need, and then you want to go and fuse the two together. And if you're stuck between different, fields, you're equally interested in them, you just want to filter it by, what is the highest in demand. What this is going to do for you is this is going to help you to get through the learning curve. It's going to help you to last longer in the field, in the space, in your business. And it's also going to help you to get motivated every day to actually do what you love and get paid well, because really, who doesn't want to do that? We all have bills to pay. We all, need to put food on the table, feed our families. So that's really what the video is all about. So that's it for the video here today. If you like this sort of content, this is kind of new for me, talking more about the self-development side of things, fusing it with programming and coding. So if you like the kind of stuff, leave me a comment. Tell me what you thought about it. If you have any thoughts, comments, and of course, as usual, don't forget to like and subscribe as well, as it really helps support the channel here. And I'll see you in the next video.